This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Next up, we've got Steve Austin pinning Tom Zenk to keep the TV title in 9 minutes and 7 seconds. Meltzer would say it started slow with Zenk mainly working on the left arm. Zenk was working with an ankle injury. When Zenk did his comeback, he missed a flying body press off the top rope by about a zip code. Finish saw Lady Blossom give Austin a foreign object, and when Zenk had Austin up for the back suplex, Austin hit Zenk and falls on him for the pin. Star in 3/4. I like that finish. You know, when you're going up for the suplex, just punch him and fall on him for the pin. I like that. Tom Zenk's one of those guys who hung around for a long time. And I think Jim Cornette and guys like that have asserted that, hey, he got more money than everybody else because he looked good and made a bunch of money on potential that never actually was realized. Tom is no longer with us, but what was your take on Mr. Zenk's WCW run?
Well, Cornette's pretty accurate. He's a good looking guy. I remember, we had a week of Family Feud, with the late Ray Combs as the, MC during that era, and Sting, Brad Armstrong, Tom Zenk. Who else was on that? Myself. There's one more.
Brian Pillman.
Brian. Yeah. Or Brian. And you could tell who they kind of wanted to expose. I was there as a babysitter. I wasn't there because of star power, but I was glad to tag along. But I tagged out early the night before because Pillman and Zenk were going to go out. And everybody was, you want to go? No, hell no. Are you kidding me? They'll be back in the morning. I don't need that. So they didn't stop partying. But we played the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. And I got a break on that deal because my partner I matched up with was Mrs. Stallone, Jackie Stallone, Sylvester's mother. And she was a little slow on the draw. So I had an advantage in those face-to-face or heads-up deals. I got my hand raised good. That's all that matters, just getting over right. But those guys were good. Those guys, that little group right there. You know, the thing about Brad was, we talked about this, it's just finding the right gimmick for Brad, the right presentation, because he could work as well as anybody we had on the roster, anybody. Then Zenk had that look. He looked good, as you were discussing. Good looking kid, movie star looks, good physique, you know, pretty fundamentally sound, actually. Got good training there in Minnesota. So, and of course, Brian was one of a kind. So I can understand the roster and how it was put together. And we had a lot of fun on that deal. Got WCW some good positive exposure. We didn't have a minute match. We actually participated in the rules of engagement there, and won the contest. So anyway, Zenk had all the physical tools. I know Barnett loved him. Of course, my God, he's beautiful. Jesus, God Almighty, beautiful. So he just didn't connect with the audience. And now you could break everything down to something that simplistic. The audience never got on the Tom Zenk bandwagon. And if you're a Tom Zenk fan, or if you're the late Tom Zenk, you'd probably say, I wasn't given the opportunity. I wasn't given the right push. And we know how important that is. We all have to have our push. So, so anyway, that was Tom's situation. And Tom was a little bit like we talked about in our Terry Taylor show, which got great feedback, by the way, on the Red Rooster a couple of weeks ago, where it was.
Yeah.
I thought, you know, Tom could have some of those Terry Taylor traits of being his own worst enemy. He thought just walking by a mirror and taking a glance, that's enough. I should be on top. And when he wasn't on top, it was somebody else's fault. And then he would talk about it. So that was his issue. Sometimes, again, you find the talents of their own worst enemy, and maybe that's a good example too. I thought it was certainly applicable for Terry back in the day, and it really worked that way for Zenk. Zenk basically destroyed his own career by being challenging and moody, difficult to get along with, and I don't know if it's just insecurities or something else that we'll never know. I don't even know what caused his death. I had no idea if it was an illness or, whatever. Hell, I don't know. Anymore, we just credit anything bad that happens in the world to COVID.
Well, that was pre-COVID. He died in 2017, but.
Well, I don't know when he died, but the point being, if it happened today, I'm sure it'd be insinuated it was COVID issues. And until you go back on the road, have you been on the road very much, Conrad, since COVID's hit?
Unfortunately, I have, and it's not nearly as fun as I remember.
No. We stayed in a major branded hotel in Milwaukee here lately. We were there to do Dynamite. And a hotel I stayed in the brand for decades. They had no bar. So people say, well, you don't need a bar all the time, JR. You don't need to drink. Well, talents like to drink. Staff members like to drink. It's a meeting place. It's like the student union. So the bar in a TV hotel where the talents are staying, it's kind of like your old student union thing where everybody's there. Some are playing cards, some are drinking, some are laughing. But it's a nice place to hang, little sanctuary. So they had no bar. They had no lunch. They had no room service. They had no dinner. They had food in the morning, which consisted of some, I identified them as scrambled eggs, so I'm not real sure, and some ugly ass link sausages that more looked like a dog turd than it did breakfast meat. And so that was 100% now of what they had to eat. So, and no housekeeping. They'll bring you new towels if you needed them, clean towels. But that's travel today. Every city has its different rules and regulations. Every hotel chain has their own rules and regulations. It's made it challenging. So, but anyhow, it's just a different time, different place, different time. That's kind of what we're dealing with now, and it's hard on the talents. You'll see better when you get to Chicago for the big ad-free event. You'll see this. It changes weekly, buddy. Changes weekly.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.